Welcome to I'd Print That. I'm Andrew.
I'm Joe.
And I'm back!
Yeah, there's a strange other voice on the podcast today. Woo!
Yay! And we're all back, and as I said earlier on Instagram and Twitter, and not Twitter, yes, Twitter. I did tweet it as well. Back to your normal programming.
Yes.
Here we go again.
So how was your vacation?
My vacation was fun. It was stressful, tiring, but fun. Disneyland with kids is fun, as well as you're going, holy monkey, I'm spending a lot of money. But it was fun. We did 2 days in Disney.
Okay.
The first day we did Magic Kingdom.
Right.
And then the second day was California Adventures.
Sure.
Personally, I liked both parks because, and now they've introduced part of their Star Wars land. They're kind of converting Tomorrowland into Star Wars. They have the launch bay.
Right.
And that was neat. I have been kicking around posting pictures on Instagram. It's not really 3D printing related. But I have every picture of every prop they have there.
Yeah.
At least one.
Yeah, you're like, here, look at these things. Flip, 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 flip.
Yeah, there's a bunch. They did a lot of cool stuff. I mean, they have a lot of old stuff, original trilogy stuff. A few of the new things, episodes 1 through 3. And then they even had some Clone Wars stuff, which is something I haven't started watching yet. And I've heard from a few people it's worth the watch.
The animated series is actually pretty decent. I really turned my nose up to it because I really didn't like the prequels. And the moment they started doing the bounty hunter things, it really caught my attention. I was like, all right, I'll kind of give it a try. And it's actually a decent show.
Yeah, and for me, it's cartoony. I'm not into cartoony things. I know.
Sad person.
I can't even get into Neverland anymore. But, yeah. So I've been, another guy at work was telling me that he's watching it now too, and I'm like, meh. So anyway, we did those two parks, and then we drove from holy cow, I'm so glad I don't live down there.
In California, yeah?
Yeah, actually I'm originally from...
I was going to say, you're from there, though.
But I'm from way north. I'm from up close to Oregon, much different.
Far, far, far to the north.
It is! But driving from Anaheim to San Diego, I think it's like right at 2 hours. We stopped in LA, did the La Brea Tar Pits. That was really cool.
Now that's like right in downtown LA, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you get off the freeway and I endearingly call her Lola. If anybody's ever watched the movie RV with Robin Williams, he calls his GPS Lola, and that's what I call mine. But Lola took me down some weird streets, and yeah, it was crazy. Downtown LA is a different world. It was unfortunately LA was the grungiest city I've been to in a very long time.
Really?
Very dirty. It's to be expected, big city.
Well, yeah, I guess the biggest city that I've been in, other than Seattle. Well, I guess I've been to Dallas. Dallas is pretty good. No, I haven't been to New York. I really want to go, though. And Seattle and Dallas are probably the two biggest ones I've been in, and Las Vegas.
But I've heard Dallas and Austin and those cities are really pretty, really well kept up.
Actually, Dallas really is.
But yeah, LA wasn't. It was grungy. There was places that... And I remember my grandma locking the doors when we were driving around, and I was like, why are you doing this? I don't understand. And she's like, people will come, and they will open the door, and they will grab what they can and run away. And I'm like, wow. And that was a big eye-opener to me. And to me, I was like, that's stupid. Nobody's going to do that.
Right.
And then now I'm older. I have kids of my own. I'm driving around, and I'm like, lock the doors.
Click.
It's kind of funny.
Huh.
Another, I guess, I'm a bigger guy. Big. I used to have this persona of this big tough guy, and nobody can hurt me. And And when my kids, we did breakfast with the characters, and my youngest and my oldest saw Minnie Mouse, and they were so excited, it brought me to tears. It was weird, and it's amazing how being a parent changes you. And I was just sitting there, and I was sitting, and we had two tables because it was my family. There's four of us, and then my mom and sister, and then my grandmother were all there.
Right.
So we had two tables, and I'm sitting kind of back in the corner, just watching, taking pictures. And I couldn't even take pictures anymore. I was just sitting there crying my eyes out because I was so happy to see my kids this happy.
So I take it you have when you went down to L.A., a little bit of Kevin Smith got into you.
Oh man,
cry at the slightest thing.
Oh seriously, I cried when they saw Anna and Elsa because Ellie, my youngest, is so into Frozen. And it was funny because she was kind of scared of them. They were a little intimidating to her. But as soon as she saw Olaf, she lost it. And it's just like, oh my God. It's knowing that I'm able to take my kids and take them to somewhere that makes them that happy. It's just, I've changed a lot, is all I can say. It was cool. Then we drove to San Diego and did the San Diego Zoo.
Right.
That was fun. It was kind of that last, like, we're tired. We are leaving in the morning at 4 o'clock. And, oh, look, there's animals. Let's go home.
Yeah.
But we spent the whole day there. We closed down the zoo. It was fun. Saw lots of cool things. Did the bus trip. They have a really cool thing, one of those air trams that does the whole park. Mm-hmm. It kind of just goes right up the middle. That was neat.
Kind of like a little monorail that runs through the park, or
yeah, but it's like the ones that ride on the cables.
Oh, okay.
Like at a ski resort.
Like a gondola.
Yeah, that's exactly the word I was looking for. But yeah, that was fun. Glad to be home. Glad to be not traveling. Miss being there. Mm-hmm. We'll definitely go back. I remember going as a kid, and I was like, "Oh, it's so exciting," and it's fun now that I get to see it through my kids. Because now I did go on rides. I never go on rides. Mm-hmm. I did Hyperspace Mountain.
Right.
I always go on Star Tours, which it's made because I remember going, and had nothing to do with Star Wars, and there was even like things that say this has nothing to do with Star Wars. Right. Lucasfilm Ltd. has nothing to do with Disney. And
I take it that's changed.
Oh yeah, 3PO flies the cargo unit you're in now. R2 is in it. Very cool. I actually have a little video I'll probably post on Instagram or Twitter of 3PO when you're in line, because that's what you do in Disney. You stand in line.
Yeah,
but it was fun. Happy to be home. Kids are happy to be home.
So here's a little piece of trivia. Speaking of C-3PO, you like Mythbusters, right?
I used to. I haven't watched them in a very long time.
But you know who, Jamie and Adam, obviously.
Yeah.
You know Cary Grant and Tori.
Yeah, actually, I watched their tested series on YouTube sometimes.
Did you know that Grant Imahara was contracted to stay a certain weight because he was actually C-3PO for a period of time? He'd go out in C-3PO armor.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, he would get up in the C-3PO gear. He was small enough to wear it, and he would go do appearances as C-3PO.
I did not know that.
I recently found that out. I was actually watching some of the tested series where Adam actually talks about his C-3PO that he has in the background, about how he acquired it. And
isn't it a movie accurate 3PO?
I don't know if it's actually movie accurate. I know that when he got it, it was a recasting of something, and he went to send it off to get plated.
Okay.
What they normally do is, and Adam explains this way better than me, the whole process.
And it's Adam Savage.
Correct. They put it in a vacuum, put a little bit of molten metal in there, and it goes pop and coats everything.
Really?
With a couple micron layer thick. I mean, it's not like it's huge amount of metal, and then you can clear coat over it, because at that point, when it does it, you can just wipe it off. It's just a powder that sits over it. Well, he sent it to this place to get coated, because what he was going to do, he was going to do C-3PO like in the desert, like all kind of disheveled and needed cleaning up. But he sent it to this place, and their son has two things that he absolutely loves in this world. One of those is Mythbusters. The second of those is Star Wars. So they get this part from Adam Savage, which is a C-3PO, which needs to be coded, and this kid evidently lost his mind. He took the parts, sanded them all nice and smooth, made it very, very, cleaned off the burrs, and did a really good job, and then talked to evidently their uncle who owns a gold mine, got a little tiny piece of gold, and then coated C-3PO in gold.
Wow.
So his C-3PO is actually gold on it, and when he got it back, and it was as it is now. So
wow,
it was just kind of an interesting thing, and he goes to explain how Grand Imahara, when they met at ILM, he did appearances as C-3PO as well as other things. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting little thing. If you guys are interested, if anybody's interested in Mythbusters and what they've been up to since the show, they stopped in the show. Look up Tested on YouTube. Tons of videos. They do all kinds of reviews. They've got a little talks that they do, podcast type things, and yeah, it's awesome.
I have one little off-subject thing, but then we're going to go back to Tested for a recent project I'm doing right now, actually. One traveling tip: if you're in Disneyland and you buy lightsabers,
yes,
you know what they don't do? Fit in your luggage.
Disassemble.
You cannot. I sat in our hotel room. Like I said, we flew out at 4:00 in the morning. I sat in our hotel room till 12:30, trying to disassemble lightsabers, trying to get the blade off from the hilt to get in our suitcases. And my wife finally went, "Why don't you just ship them?" I said, "Honey, it's 12:30 at night. Where am I going to ship these from?"
Right.
So she luckily was able to Google and find a FedEx that's 24-hour. So I drove for a half an hour to a FedEx store whose computers were down and they could not ship them right then and there. And I kind of just looked at the guy and said, "Okay, let me break it down then for you, man." I've been to Disney for 2 days. I drove from Anaheim to San Diego, went to the San Diego Zoo and the La Brea Tar Pits. And now it's 12:30 at night. I'm getting on a plane in like 4.5 hours.
Right.
And these lightsabers are going to be at my house in the next few days. And he went, "I'll take your credit card information and I'll ship them." Fun fact, 2 lightsabers cost you about $60.
Yeah.
It cost you about $30 to ship them because they're long.
Yeah, right, exactly. They're an odd size.
So yeah, it was fun. My eldest bought unfortunately, she bought a Luke saber. For her, it was the color thing. She didn't quite understand. But, faith restored. My youngest, my 2-year-old, picked out Kylo Ren's saber. But anyway, back to Tested.
Yeah.
So, I'm printing again. I have a printer up and running right now. That's why you don't hear the sultry sounds of my laptop fan, because it's driving a printer at the moment. I am printing. Joe and I have been talking about this for a while, doing it,
right.
And it's something we both want to do because it's a great organization to be a part of.
It is.
They do so much for communities. They do a lot for kids.
Mm-hmm.
We're joining the 501st Legion, Stormtroopers.
Yep.
I have finally chosen what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a Shadow Trooper.
Normally with the 501st, though, they want you to have... it has to be canon.
Yes.
To join.
No, actually, no. They've changed those. They've changed that.
When did they change that? Because when I looked here last year about this time...
I was looking yesterday.
Okay.
And I was speaking to Havoc, the Havoc Squad, our local garrison. And they're totally fine with it. I mean, granted, you do have to take pictures, and it does have to be approved by the 501st.
Right.
But yeah, because of also the reason they changed those rules is the Clone Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots that aren't canon yet, and Expanded Universe.
Right.
So yes.
Now, Expanded Universe is now Legacy.
Yes.
Because when Disney acquired the rights to Star Wars, they pretty much said all of that stuff, all the books, technically does not happen.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You know, it's printed, it's still there, you can enjoy it, but we are going a different path than what Lucas decided to do, and that's why when you watch Episode 7, it's different than actually how things happen in the books.
Yes, very different. So back to Tested. Original Trooper is a company who he has the original castings for Stormtrooper armor. And there's also another company out there called Anovos who also has acquired original casting pieces. They do an entire unboxing of a Shadow Trooper armor, which Anovos sells. Original Trooper does not sell them. I think they just started doing the TIE Fighter pilots.
Right, the TIE pilots.
But yeah, it was kind of cool to see them do an unboxing, and they did it. They did the whole thing, and had to trim the parts because you get the parts untrimmed.
Oh yeah, you still have the flashing and everything on it. It's when they send you the kit, it is just that. It is a kit. You trim it. You do all of it.
Trimmed.
You can, but they also charge you for it
a lot. Because I was looking at the Shadow Trooper gear. It's $700 for the kit. It's $1,200 to get it trimmed.
And that's just for the kit. That doesn't include any of the gaskets, the liners, or any. Okay.
It actually does include the neck gasket, boots, everything. But I'm not going to go that way, mostly because I'm like, I'm not going to spend $700 on trooper gear when I can make it. So that's what I'm currently printing. I am printing my helmet. Fully wearable. It's actually on Thingiverse. And it is... I did a lot of research on it. I mean, even if it doesn't get... I doubt it won't be because I have to Bondo it and color it and everything.
Right.
But it's very, very similar to a Trooper Commander helmet, original Trooper. But it also will... The Shadow Trooper helmet does not change.
Right.
It's the same Trooper helmet, but it'll work. I'll just paint it.
Right. Yeah, it's just black.
Really cool black.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a Shadow Trooper. I think you haven't decided yet, have you?
I haven't. I want to do a Sith Lord. That is my
well, your saber. Already.
My goal is to be Sith Lord, but because technically it is not canon, I plan on being inducted probably as just a generic Stormtrooper.
TK.
Yeah, TK. So I have my parts that I have sourced. I have not purchased them. Again, this is going back to shipping from UK because it is a UK company. They have molds of the original A New Hope Stormtroopers. They're not molds; they're forms because it's all vacuum formed. I just happen to also be the pretty much follow the generic height and weight for a 1970s actor who was a Stormtrooper.
Was it 5'8", 170 something pounds?
Yep.
Yeah, is the but the cool thing about and I think that's original Trooper who you're looking at. He does.
I don't know if it's original Trooper. I'd have to dig up the emails, but I've emailed the company. I've talked to them about pricing and shipping overseas. They have no problems with doing any of that. They do it quite often, evidently. But mine would include holster, blaster, all the pieces, all the parts. I even think they do boots.
Yeah.
Down to even the boots.
I think you're talking to original Trooper because that sounds exactly the same. Because they list it out. Everything you need. And so, in case nobody understands what the difference between a TK Trooper is and a Shadow Trooper, Shadow Troopers were special ops.
Correct.
And the reason they called them Shadow Troopers and the reason they're black is because they had they could cloak. Their armor could they can go invisible. So I mean I've always gravitated towards, of course, an Imperial, but I've always loved bounty hunters. I love the Fett's armor, the Mandalorian's armor is awesome. But being a Shadow Trooper, it's like right on the line of being a bounty hunter, and you're also a Stormtrooper. But I've always loved the Stormtrooper armor, and so there we go. It's 16 pieces. The first piece, part number 1, which is printing now, it's 4th try, is a 12-hour print, just for the first part.
Wow.
And then, of course, you have assembly, Bondo, and paint.
Right.
I am having a really hard time finding armor pieces that I can print.
Mm-hmm.
I may have to model them myself. Actually, I did contact the guy who did the original model. It's a complete resculpt that he did of a screen accurate New Hope Stormtrooper helmet, who uploaded it to Thingiverse. I did contact him and went, hey, you think you can take on a project of building some trooper armor? We'll see what he thinks. He's a guy out of Australia. Seems like a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Even if not, I would love it if he could give me a hand at learning to sculpt and learning to make something out of nothing. So that's about it on my trip. Joe had a very nice vacation as well.
Went over to Seattle. Wife and I went over. We saw Iron Maiden and George Clinton. Iron Maiden the first night. It was fun. I talked about that here last podcast, and also George Clinton. Thing I didn't cover is right below the Neptune Theater there by the university in Seattle. There is a record shop. Record shop, and they sell used CDs, vinyl, DVDs, and we went down and we found a couple of things. And on the way back out, as we were walking up the stairs, was walking next to my wife, helping her up the stairs, and another guy was coming down, and we almost bumped into each other at the top of the steps, and I looked up, and he's like, "Oh, hey," and I was wearing my Deadpool hat, and he's like, "Oh, hey, nice hat," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, thanks, man," and I come to find out that he is one of the guitarists for George Clinton.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of awesome. It seems like everywhere I go with that hat, it gets a lot of reaction. It's just a red hat with the Deadpool eyes. Nothing real special about it, but
it's iconic.
It is. It really is. The first night after we watched Iron Maiden, we went back to our hotel. We stayed. Got up the next morning, went to a place a couple blocks away. I can't remember the name of it, but we had breakfast and asked one of the guys that was our server. Said, "Hey, we're
not from around here."
Well, we normally stay in downtown Seattle. We're northern.
Yeah.
In the northern part of the city. Where can we go? What is there to do? And he's like, "Well, you guys don't mind walking a little bit?" No, we're not shy about walking a little bit. He says, "Well, if you go down a block to where this bridge is, the first bridge you come to, there's some steps that goes down, and there's a bike path. Follow that for a while. You go out to the Gasworks Park. Go check that out." And I was like, Gasworks. God, that name sounds familiar to me. And so we're walking out there. We're checking things out. We're talking, and we get to Gasworks, and we're wandering around. And I'm like, this place looks familiar. And my wife's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, they shot a scene for 10 Things I Hate About You in this here. She's like, "No, they didn't." I'm like, "Yeah, actually, when Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles' character had this little paint balloon fight, that was at Gasworks. It was right over there." She goes, "No, it wasn't." So I had to dig out the phone and show her a video and say, "Look, it was cool." She's like, "Wow, sure enough." And so we got to wander around and check it out. There's some cool things there. Past that, it was just stopping by a couple of shops here and there. But it was just basically we went out, watched a couple of shows. Didn't get much printing done. I did get a couple of things done that I said I was wanting to do on my vacation. Got my Z-Rods in. I got them installed. So you actually saw a print that I did here last week. I printed a box for my wife. And there was really no Z-banding in that. It was actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
It may have a little bit still, but I've got some pieces I'm going to print that'll just eliminate it completely. I did find out that the board for my G-Tech does support 24-volt power.
Cool.
I have to check with them to make sure the extruders the heaters for the extruders support 24-volt power because it's all or none. So he said I could do that or use a separate board like we were talking. Mm-hmm. And I will ask him, the guy I'm dealing with, his name is Eric, find out what he has to suggest for parts if I need to go with a 24-volt add-on board. And got the Z-belt, and I didn't get an additional bracket, but I got the STL file, so I plan on redesigning a bracket for them, and I'll just send it off to them. It's nice. I've been talking to this company back and forth about printers and things like that, and made comment, hey, we want to be able to do some, because they sell kits, do assembly instructions, actual video assembly instructions and reviews. And they said, yeah, great, but here, while you were on vacation, it was last Friday, I got an email that said, hey, we're releasing a new printer, and we think you guys would be great to test it out.
Amazing. This is one of the things, when you started doing this, that, oh my God, that would be cool if we can just test printers.
The company's been really good to deal with. They've been very responsive. They've sent me a whole bunch of things. I have helped them with just product information, user feedback. These are the things that I'm having issues with.
Yeah.
I am upgrading my, hey, I want to upgrade my print bed to an aluminum bed. Can I do this? Will it support it? There's definitely, I think they're taking more note, mostly because I am very active with them.
Yeah.
So.
And it's awesome. This is what we're working towards, and being able to try out printers and get the word out there for companies. I mean, most of the time you ask people, or somebody asks either Joe or I, well, what is 3D printing? And we want it to be a household name.
Right. And it's, we both have wallets. What's 3D printing? Well, this is one thing that 3D printing can do. Here's an item that you can hold in your hand and you can look at and see that, oh wow, this is a real, for real thing that's not just something that's going to fall apart. I sit on my wallet every day. I drive with it in my pocket. I sit with it at the office. It gets flexed and abused and thrown around, and it holds up.
Yeah.
So, but besides that, you really don't have much else to cover. My vacation was pretty simple. You took a flight, so you had a little bit more stuff go on. Mm-hmm. I talked last week about ordering my Rigid.ink filament sample, and I figured it would take a couple weeks to get here, and it only took a few days. It was here middle of the week, and I got a yellow. It's a single color, just yellow, but it comes in a very, very nice bag for storage, and they even included a little pack of gummies.
Yeah, they did. Little British candy. And one thing I really want to say, because I've ordered quite a bit of filament, and usually it comes in a box.
Right.
Even when we ordered our samples from another company, it just kind of came in.
Filament One.
Yeah. It just kind of came in a package, UPS bubble bag.
Right. The Filament One, actually, I know when mine came in a box, and not each one was individually put in a Ziploc bag, but they at least each had a bag.
Yeah.
This here is a very dense Mylar bag, keeps UV out, and
they did an awesome job. I mean, branding for companies. I mean, this is almost like unboxing worthy packaging.
It really is.
It's really nice. And their branding is like spot on. I love it on the back here. It says, now go and create something amazing. And it's really cool to see. And right on the front, it says, step 1, take a photo of your #RigidPrints, tag @RigidInk on Instagram or Twitter. And then you'll get a chance to win a prize. And I know I did see them on Instagram because we do follow them. You tag them and they'll send you more samples if you win.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool. It's really cool to see a company that's not just, here's your stuff.
And I didn't have to. didn't have to harass these guys either.
No.
It was amazing how quickly this came. Mm-hmm. I ordered it. Like I said, it was a couple of days, and bam, it was at my doorstep. And it came from the UK.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of miles and
Across
an
the pond.
ocean apart.
But yeah, really, really good packaging. Rigid Ink. I know I kind of called you out on Instagram and said, "Hey, come listen to us. We're going to talk about it." Spot on. Really good packaging. Your filament sample looks great. Joe's going to print it out.
Yeah, I got some. I've actually devised a way that I'm going to start testing my filaments.
Okay.
I found a little. It's a little house that they use in a kind of a popular board game.
Monopoly?
And
We're not supposed to say the name.
I don't know, but
Monopoly, send us games.
Yes, exactly. I think that's Parker
print more
Brothers
houses.
or something like that. That one.
We'll print your houses and hotels.
Anyway,
No taxes.
so yes, so I found a little house that I could print. It's a square. It has a bevel top, so you can kind of, rather than just that 10 millimeter cube that we've been doing, you can get some shapes out of it. And you can do, it's a 9-minute print,
Nice.
and you can test temps. So I have some presets for 190 degrees C all the way up to 10 degree increments up to 230
Okay. For PLA.
for PLA. And that's what this is. This is a yellow PLA that I got from Rigid Ink.
Yeah.
So I can go through and say, okay, just change my, jog down to the model I want to print, say print this, and it'll print it at 190, 200, 210,
Nice.
etc. That way I can see what the best temp is for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, one thing I've seen other people do, which it's actually a fairly complex print, is that little octopus.
Oh, from Octoprint.
I don't know if it's from Octoprint. It's just an octopus that has has the 8 legs that kind
The
of
one that
stick
does
out.
the middle fingers?
Nope. It's not that.
Oh.
It's if you look online, and I can show you. I'll show you the model upstairs. It's just an octopus. It sits there. It's flat. Its body sits up, and then its legs kind of come out around, and they loop
I
around.
believe I've seen that one.
Yeah, they show it a lot on videos and other things. I think you may know what one it is.
Yeah, I do.
And I'll link to it. But I want to be able to just print one of those.
Yeah.
It will give it a nice try, see how detailed it is, how well it handles the curves, the corners. But yeah, I've got this filament to test out, and I'll do that also with the Filament 1 filament. I've got several to do.
I still have YS filament to test.
I've got those to do. I have Flex in YS and in Filament 1 filament.
And we still have that giant sample of Ninja Flex. I haven't given you any.
Yeah, I was gonna say you haven't passed any on
I
to
have
me.
a crap ton of it. I don't have time.
And that's what I'm making time to do all this stuff, and that's why I'm getting my presets done now that my printer I've got it almost zeroed in. I'm going to do that, and once I verify that I know how my temps work, etc., I'm going to get my 3D Hubs account set up.
Oh yeah, I need to do that as well. I have it, I'm just deactivated. My hub is deactivated currently.
Right.
And actually now I've got a lot to update because the one printer is heavily modified, still down. I need to go get a bed for it. Mm-hmm. But now that vacation and big money spending's over, I should be able to start to...
No whammies?
No whammies! No, I should be able to start to push a little more money back into 3D printing.
Right.
Of course it is springtime, so house renovations, and we're trying to sell our house.
Well, and I got to find time, because if you look out my sliding door here in my basement,
is seeding.
My grass is seeding. Yeah. Becky actually took a video the other day of Cole, one of my dogs. My dogs' names are Cole and Cinder. They're both black. Cole, the male, was laying in the grass, kind of hunkered down, and you could just barely see him. And Cinder come running by, and he's trying to egg her out and get a little bit of a pounce attack on her. But
is it like that moment when you notice your grass is too long?
Oh no, I know my grass is too long. I know it's funny because if you look at my front yard, all the dandelions are around the border. There's none really in the middle. And that's one thing I'm probably going to do this afternoon is dig out the weed eater and lawnmower and go raise my lawn a little bit. But anyway, aside from that, there's a few things in the news I wanted to cover. Shapeways here closed about a month ago. Was it Shapeways? No, it wasn't.
No, Shapeways was actually able to stay open.
Yes. Who the heck was that? Your printer's based on them.
Solid Doodle.
Solid Doodle, yeah. So here about a month ago, Solid Doodle closed their doors. And a lot of that was because they outsourced their printers to get manufactured overseas. They had some quality control issues. Well, MakerBot recently announced that they're going to stop making their own 3D printers, and they're going to outsource it to a manufacturing firm, Jabil. And it's kind of sad to see because everything that MakerBot has done was always based out of Brooklyn. Yeah. They got a 50,000 square foot manufacturing facility, and they here not long ago updated that to a 170,000 square foot facility. But unfortunately, MakerBot has made it official that they'll be outsourcing their products of its Replicator Series 3D printers to an overseas facility and closing those Brooklyn spaces.
They've already closed them, and it was 100 out of 500. They're 550 workforce, 550 head of people. Now that just closing that, but unfortunately, I don't have a MakerBot, I don't have a Replicator.
Right.
And Replicator was kind of the Cupcake was the first thing to really hit it, and it's sad to see it go. They did unfortunately go with the proprietary, squash everything.
Right, and they attributed a lot of that to overseas manufacturers cloning their designs, and they really wanted to make money at doing this.
Which they did. I mean, it was like 400 million was their growth.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. But yeah, and especially when Stratasys bought them, they really they kind of went big. But unfortunately, this decision, I don't think it's going to be very favorable for them.
No, I mean, I read what I'm speaking on was a small excerpt I read, and unfortunately, one of the terms that they used was they were a dead company walking.
Right.
And it's unfortunate to see. We were actually tipped off to this quite a while ago from a mutual friend we have in the 3D printing industry.
Right.
He shall not be named.
Well, he's also made comment about another Goliath in the printing industry, and unfortunately, we can't really say a whole bunch about who it is, but they maybe it sounds like they may not be doing so well either.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate to hear, but the thing is, I mean, these printers are 3D printing is becoming such a household thing, and when someone can go out and buy a $500 printer,
right,
and it's similar, but it's not that printer, but like people like me, I'm not going to spend $1,200 on a printer at this moment in my life.
And if you look at it, I bought my printer for it's under $500, about $450.
Yeah.
And it was a kit. I assembled it myself. Along with assembling myself, though, I also have to configure it up myself. And that means, getting all the calibration done, dialing it in. And yeah, it may sound like I have been doing a lot of work on this printer, and I have, but the luxury of when you buy a out-of-the-box printer from MakerBot, Ultimaker, DaVinci, any of these other companies, is that's pretty much done for you.
Yeah.
There's a little tweaking you have to do, but 90% of it is done. Mm-hmm. I had 0% done. So, and when we started this, my skill level as a 3D designer and as a 3D printer was minimal. I had no real. I had never really used a 3D printer. I did a little of 3D design in SketchUp with architectural stuff for the company that we mutually work for. But past that, it was trial and error. A lot of hitting Andrew up for information, bouncing things off of him, going to the internet, reading forums, asking questions. And actually, I take that back. My first 3D printer was a little M3D. Mm-hmm. It wasn't out of the box, but
there's a lot of tweaking.
There's still a lot of tweaking with those, even because of backlash.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have my M3D that long to get that much experience with it. Mm-hmm. I went right from M3D to let's build one.
Let's make a printer.
Exactly. So now, as we said, Jabil, they announced their partnership, and they're going to be transferring their manufacturing over to them. While no concrete dates are set, the move to an overseas production facility will take place within the next couple of months, and they do expect additional layoffs during this process.
Yeah.
The only upside to this, and I don't know how big of an upside, is MakerBot will still be headquartered in New York from a product development and growth strategy perspective. But besides that, everything else is going overseas.
And one thing that kind of scared me is, we talk about it a lot, we get a lot of our models from there, is Thingiverse. Thingiverse is owned by MakerBot. And,
right.
I first heard about them going down, I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going to happen to Thingiverse?
Well, and that's the thing is, there's at least a community there who might do the same thing that Shapeways did, and be able to provide funding for them.
Oh, yeah.
And because Thingiverse is MakerBot, who owns Thingiverse, is owned by Stratasys, there is at least the ability for some influx of funding for this.
Yeah.
There's way too many users there for them to just shut their doors and bugger off.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
Right.
And I want everybody to know we're not saying this and like we're not down on MakerBot, not at all.
No. And when I was looking to buy my printer, before I decided on a kit, I was looking at either an Ultimaker or a Replicator. Mm-hmm. So those were the two that I was looking at, because they're
good, solid printers.
Exactly. So, and that's. Well, I can't say that's all I have for 3D printing news. I have one other thing. And this is kind of an interesting story. You and I are both Star Wars fans, and I know you and myself could easily distinguish Darth Vader from Yoda, from Jabba the Hutt, with nothing more than a voice or a silhouette.
Well, yeah. Especially Jabba.
It's also height and everything else. It's elementary to us, but there's some people out there who have maybe just got introduced into the universe, and they may not quite know that. Mm-hmm. Especially if you put Darth Maul next to Darth Vader, they may not be able to notice those differences in silhouette.
That's okay.
It's a stretch, okay?
There's a cape.
Again, we know we have lived a lifestyle of Star Wars.
James Earl Jones.
So, now, what if your only clue was a skull?
That'd be a little different. I mean,
the
humanoids would be hard to tell apart. The non-humanoids, I mean, a Yoda skull, you can obviously tell.
Yeah, you probably tell the difference between a Yoda skull and a humanoid skull, but
so one would be interesting to me that I was reading this would be a Jabba skull. He's so enormous. What would his head? I mean, his head is huge, but what's under there?
And that's the question: is what is under there? Yeah, as far as I know, Jabba could be a big slug,
and he's
space slug.
Supposedly.
So now, Skull Wars, which was done by the creative 3D printing geniuses at 3D Kit Bash, will consist of 15 intricate, digitally sculpted and 3D printed skulls inspired by Star Wars. Though each skull will be based on a specific character from the Star Wars franchise, the artwork itself will be original. I'm not mowing my lawn today.
No, you're not. Holy crap. And I guess I'm not going to continue to clean out my side yard.
So, 3D Kit Bash usually designs 3D models that can be easily printed by makers on their desktop FDM machines. However, Skull Wars is different in that the models will be 3D printed by Shapeways on professional SLS machines, though they do eventually plan to release the free 3D printable .stl files.
Which is cool, because I want to print some skulls.
Oh yeah, it would be awesome. And those they plan on releasing on Thingiverse, My Mini Factory, Pinshape, and Colts 3D. The Kickstarter campaign for this, they plan on launching on May 4th and does offer several early bird specials. Though the official fundraising goal hasn't been announced, 3D Kit Bash says that if funded, they will digitally sculpt the skulls, have them 3D printed by Shapeways, and ship them out to backers. So those people who don't have a 3D printer can get in on this because it will be all created, designed right by the company. Those of us who have 3D printers will have to wait to make our own. But you know what?
Worth the wait.
Yeah, especially there's when they go through and they actually have some concept artwork. There's one called The Green Master. There's one called Accident Prone. I can't remember what the other one was, but it's Bosk the Trandoshan skull.
Ooh.
So, and they have articulating jaws. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I want to see what the what they have.
It's going to be fun. One of the things I've always wanted to do for my whenever it comes about in my life, hopefully soon when we're going to buy a house, for my man cave is to have helmets.
Yep.
I want a Vader helmet. I want a Boba Fett helmet. I want a Trooper helmet, and then not just Star Wars Galaxy. I want everything because I've always loved the helmets. Iron Man's helmet.
Rocketeers helmet.
Rocketeers. Yeah. Wow. Throwback. Not even Thursday. But yeah, that's one thing I've always wanted to do for my man cave is like have them on the outsides mounted, and
it goes right back to Tested, because if you look around Adam's shop there, he has helmets from everything. So, kind of really awesome.
Having the skull next to the helmet would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So on to other Star Warsy things. This doesn't fall along the 3D printing lines, but you've seen my Star Wars collection. I've got books. I have a lightsaber. I have knickknacks, trinkets, a few 3D printed things I have. The most 3D print, the most Star Wars things I have is Legos. I really like Legos. I've been a fan of them since I was a kid. And when they started releasing Lego Star Wars, I really went nuts for them. Now, I haven't gone out and bought every one of them. I'm very selective on them. But the one I've wanted, and the one I finally had the money to buy, they quit making, which was the Imperial Star Destroyer, like the big 3-foot long Star Destroyer.
They have one. So one part of Disney is downtown Disney. They have a lot of the shops and stuff. They have a Lego store there. And holy monkey, the new TIE Fighter,
it's one of the first order TIE Fighters. Yeah,
but I'm talking the table we sit at. You can't obviously see, but wings and modules total would take up half of this table.
Oh yeah,
it was nuts.
Yeah, they
$400, but
yeah, they did that with. They have an X-wing that they did that with. Red 5, Luke's X-wing. They did that with the Death Star. They did that with several things. They've upsized them, but yeah, they are $400.
Yeah, they're nuts.
But they're intricately detailed. So, okay, so keep that image in mind. and we'll walk down this path. So, although it certainly looks large enough to have been constructed on Quat at the Imperial shipyards, the Imperial Star Destroyer Tyrant is actually a custom Lego brick creation built by Fanatic Doomhandle. Love his name.
That's awesome.
The Tyrant is over 54 inches long and weighs approximately 70 pounds with a full load. And it has a 3-level interior, which adds a lot of weight. And it takes up about 20 inches longer, and it's quite a few times heavier than the classic Lego USC or UCS version. So I have Star Destroyer upstairs that you've seen. Okay, add 20 inches to that.
This is nuts.
That's crazy. While the remarkably detailed exterior alone is impressive enough, Doomhandle has created a fully realized 3-level interior that includes a bridge, a conference room, a Sith meditation chamber, officers' quarters, which are all on the top level, classical Imperial catwalk, operations center, medical bay, armory, and turbo lift on the second level, a cantina, barracks, detention center, cargo hold, engineering, and even hangar bays that actually house TIE interceptors and Sentinel-class shuttle and a captured A-Wing.
That's awesome.
Go to our site, click on the link, you get a whole video tour, and you can see just how spectacular and impressive this thing is. It blew my mind. I would love to have him release plans for this, because I would build it. I'd have to go and buy a whole mess of gray brick.
But you can by the pound on eBay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can even get hold of Lego and they will send you the pieces. You
Really?
Yeah, you just say I need part blah 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 blah, and they will send it to you.
Or you can print them.
If I really wanted to, but
That's a lot of printing.
it is a lot of printing, especially the one that I have was 1,000 pieces or so. Then this thing looks to topple that easily. So one other news item, we spoke about this here, one of our first podcast, or maybe it was a few episodes in. Lionhead Studios, the developer of Fable, Microsoft, was closing. Mm-hmm. Well, Friday was their last day. And I just want to... It's 20 years ago that they started. They've had several games, a lot of innovative ideas, and they'll be missed.
Yeah, definitely.
So they had a consultation period, and no further potential buyers were found to be interested in the company, and Friday was its last day, unfortunately.
That's surprising that nobody was interested in picking them up.
They did some really cool things. They had a lot of great developers, very imaginative people, but unfortunately, it's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I know John Romero and Adrian Carmack are doing something new. I don't know if you know who John Romero and Adrian Carmack are. They created a little game called Doom.
Oh, wow. Well, Doom's coming out again.
Actually, John Romero just released a new Doom level for Doom.
The original?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't realize this. I saw that they were going to have an announcement, and they have a new studio that they've started.
Wow.
A new game that's going to be coming out called Black Room. Okay. They have a Kickstarter, or they started a Kickstarter for it. When I went out to go check and see what was going on, unfortunately, they had canceled it 2 hours before I did. Oh. They're wanting to get, so it looks like, a playable demo or some kind of demo.
Oh, that's cool.
To start. But by that time, they had almost 3,000 backers.
Jeez. There's a lot of people. Have you
John
seen...
Romero, he's actually going to be designing every level of the game. And Black Room is interesting. It's you can go to YouTube and look up John Romero or Black Room, and you'll probably find it. But it is a kind of a sci-fi, real aggressive first-person shooter, very fast-paced. Kind of goes back to your hardcore first-person shooters that originally came out. So I'm very interested in it. I can fully blame John Romero for turning me into the gamer I am today. My friend Gary got me into games like Wasteland and other little role-playing games, but action games, I will blame that guy for the rest of my life, because it was my first time I played Doom. I was sold. I bought a computer specifically for Doom.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that on the podcast.
So,
cool thing. I can't remember which VR it is. I think it's Samsung VR. Someone did a port to the Samsung VR for the original Doom.
Huh. Yeah, I know that you can get it for your smartphones now.
Really?
One other thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, tell us.
I will tell you. Let me show you this real quick.
You dick! Damn it!
So I had a footnote in the notes here about Overwatch. Taco Bell has a thing going on where you can win an early copy of Overwatch. My wife and I went to Spokane today, just go hang out and do a few things, and we swung by Taco Bell for lunch. I got home and I inputted my code, and this is my third attempt, and this is the first time I've ever won any of these stupid contests, and it came back, said winner winner chicken dinner. So, but it's not just, I'm more excited because I actually won a thing.
You won a headset too.
It also comes with a headset, which I didn't realize until I got the confirmation email that they will go through. You get a thing, you get a PIN code, you go to the website, you put in your PIN, you put in your phone number. It goes to another site, you put in your information, name, address, what platform, PC, Xbox, or PS4.
What'd you pick?
I picked PC.
Thank you!
Because I know, I actually have this on recording, that you said that if I won, you would buy a copy.
When?
When? You want me to rewind this thing?
Oh, from the beginning, yeah.
You would get a copy. Keep playing. Nothing. They're not going to send me anything until after the promotion is over. So, you still have until I think it's the middle of the month. So you still got a couple weeks. But yeah, I'm
gonna go buy like 4 large drinks.
I like a large water. No, not that cup. The other cup.
Maybe I'll ask for a couple large farvas and I'll win.
Yeah, exactly. But no,
I hate you. Seriously hate you right now.
Yeah, I didn't have any expectations, no hopes, because every time I've tried these things, it's like, oh, sorry, you're not a winner. And when it popped back immediately and said winner, I was like, whoa.
Thanks.
My wife was like, what's going on? What happened?
I won.
Like,
I win, you win.
I got a copy. I've been looking at Overwatch. I mean, being both of us being reformed WoW addicts, we still pay attention to what Blizzard's got going on with Hearthstone and Diablo and other things like that. So we've both looked at Overwatch and we've talked a little bit about it. And I wasn't going to buy a copy. I didn't really intend on buying a copy, but when I saw that Taco Bell had and actually it was the day that they started the promotion, I didn't hear anything about it. I was going to work and decided I needed to stop by, grab some lunch, and they had started the promotion. I was like, what the heck? And this is, like I said, my third try. I went and tried on Becky's, and unfortunately, no dice for her. But yeah, so I know you were curious about why does it say Overwatch?
Well, because we've talked about it, and I was like, I don't, because it's kind of spendy for a shooter. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to spend that much money on because it looks
it's
like
a Team Fortress clone is really what it is.
It's a TF2 reboot, and I'm like, Why? I don't know if I want to spend the money, and I'll get disappointed and not play it.
Well, plus this is an early copy, so I'll at least be able to play it and kind of give you an idea of if it's worth the $60 or so they want for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a game anymore, anyways. Any game you go and buy, you're spending $60 unless you want.
Now I gotta go spend $60. You
go buy Taco Bell.
I'm gonna go buy some Taco Bell on the way home.
And if I decide to go get Taco Bell for lunch, I'll give you my codes. Or maybe until I win another one, I'll give them for Becky. Yeah.
Yes. Damn it. I am mad now. Because now I have to spend money because I said I would do it.
And when our mutual friend Travis came over and showed me Overwatch, I was like, wow.
It does look
it looked
fun.
Cool, and then it showed that it was a Blizzard game. I was like, this is definitely kind of out of the box for Blizzard.
Definitely.
Blizzard's has always been RTS or MMO.
Mm-hmm.
So, and MMO is even recent for those guys. Because WoW's been, just over 10 years now?
Oh, jeez. Way too long.
It came out in 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
So I think it's its 11th birthday. And prior to that, it was Diablo and StarCraft, and those are all first-person shooters. And Warcraft.
You had Warcraft, yeah.
Because that's what they started off with, was Warcraft, then Diablo, then StarCraft.
Mm-hmm. And they went through 3 renditions of Warcraft, I believe.
Correct, yeah, Warcraft 3 was the last one they did, Frozen Throne.
I just texted my wife, told that Joe won, and I didn't.
But yeah, so you have to check that out. Like I said, I did say PC. That way, Andrew didn't have to go buy an Xbox to come play with me.
I wasn't going to buy an Xbox. Same thing happened with Battlefront, and guess what he doesn't do anymore? I almost bought an Xbox to play Battlefront with you. I found an Xbox on Craigslist the other day. The guy only wanted $150 for it.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, no. Other things to buy.
Yeah, I still play. I've actually, since the double episode, I've been playing a metric ton of Fallout.
Really?
Yeah, I had 5 days of playtime on Fallout, and I'm over 7 now.
Nice.
I think I'm pushing I gotta be pushing close to 8 days.
Nice.
So I finally got into the Institute. I'm starting those quests. I'm ways into both Brotherhood and Railroad right now. I don't know who I want to go with. I have to choose between the 3: Railroad, Brotherhood, or Institute. And Brotherhood, I don't know.
They're jerks.
Yeah, but I may try Railroad. Institute, I'm still trying to get a feel for them. I'm still doing a couple of quests. The sad thing is all the quests kind of contradict one another.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the whole point. They all hate each other.
Correct.
Why can't we all just get along? Supposedly, though, there is a way to complete the game with all 4 factions.
It doesn't matter with Minutemen. You can
really?
you can pretty much do all of those quests, but it will come to a point in the game where you go to do a quest and it says, "Are you sure you want to continue?" Because
you're gonna piss these guys off.
Correct. This is a point of no return. You cannot go back. If you do this any farther, anything you have going on with the Institute or anything you have going on with the Brotherhood, if you choose Railroad, you are hosed. So, my wife likes watching the game. She likes the story, and I think she gets kind of annoyed that I do every side quest. It's like, oh, there's a thing over there. I gotta go to the thing.
Shiny things.
And that's one reason why it takes me days and months to complete some of these games, because I like seeing what's out there. I just came across, I don't know if you plan on ever playing, so spoilers for anybody who's
It's been out long enough.
Well, there's some people out there who may not have explored or may be interested in
Not being
playing.
able to talk about Game of Thrones with you.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But down by the glowing sea, there is another vault, Vault 95, that I just came across, and I did some exploration in there. And Vault 95 was filled with addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics, things like that. And the whole point is they were to follow the program. Well, I go through and I read all the terminals and get all the information, all the stuff.
I could not play a storyline game with you. It'd drive me nuts. Come over here, let's kill things. No, we gotta read this. No, we gotta kill things.
So, evidently, Vault-Tec decided that they were going to plant a person in there that after 5 years, these people will have gone through their program for 5 years, no chems, no nothing else. They'd be sober for that time. That at the 5-year mark, this person was to sneak out and open this secret chamber that was filled with chems.
Oh, jeez. If that's what they needed.
And evidently that didn't go over too well. So he's stuck in there. He hid, or he or she, it doesn't give the gender that I recall. They went out, they opened this place after 5 years, and that's the only journal entry from him. But there's another journal entry from somebody. It said, after 5 years of being sobriety, we're all family. This is all a nice community. Somebody has found a cache of chems, and now there's fighting and gunfire, and everybody is turning on one another. And it's just like, wow, this is messed up.
Unfortunately, it's society.
Well, if you go through Vault-Tec, that's their whole MO. It's about doing research on people.
Yeah.
How people react in certain situations. So every vault had its own little thing that they were testing.
Oh, okay.
So, like, there was one vault that didn't quite seal all the way, so all kinds of radiation came in. If you go look up the Fallout Wiki, you can go read about every vault.
Oh, really?
Each vault is individual, yeah. And they don't repeat the numbers in the games. Each one has its own. So, 82, 13,
Wasn't there a
111,
Vault 666?
101. Yes, there was a Vault 666, and I believe that is the one that didn't seal all the way, and they turned everybody into ghouls.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I think 666 is in Fallout 3, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, so lots of gaming. I've got some printing stuff that I plan on continuing to work on.
My printer is going to be... hopefully I can get both of them up and running so I can print all parts of my helmet. And then, unfortunately, printing is going to probably take a little bit of a backseat to assembling and painting and bondoing and many hours of sanding on my helmet.
You have fun with that. I will wait, and I will just buy mine.
For me, it's the journey.
Oh, mine will be the journey too, but I plan on doing just some more 3D printery things. And I think assembling the kit would be fun. Mm-hmm. This is something that I have been wanting to do for a very long time, and I plan on actually building a case with a mannequin that the armor will sit on when not in use.
That'll be cool.
And it'll sit in my office with all of the rest of my Star Wars stuff, so it'll be nice and lit. And
I can't wait to do functions with them.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yep.
Really, really cool, and it's for a great cause.
It really is.
Garrison Titan, which is the main garrison that I believe you're going to join Havoc as well.
Yeah. Havoc is a local regiment. Titan is the Washington they oversee. There is one for Idaho, but they're more southern Idaho.
Yeah, they're out of Boise.
Yeah, and unfortunately, southern Idaho and northern Idaho should just be two completely different states because they really don't remember us.
Well, and they're just not active up here.
No, they really aren't. But there really isn't a whole lot to do up here. So our nearest one would be Spokane, and there's plenty of things that happen over there.
Well, they just did a thing in Hayden at the Triple Play.
When was this?
For the Ronald McDonald House, like a week ago.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and they did a meet and greet, and they raised money for the Ronald McDonald House. Not long ago, they raised $20,000 for St. Jude's.
Yeah.
And that was the entire Titan
Right.
garrison, but it's just really cool. It's really something that my sister was in the Ronald McDonald House when she was young, and just a cool way to give back, and as well as it being able to feed the nerd side.
Yeah. It's,
Really cool thing though, my 8-year-old, because there's a junior.
right.
Rebellion.
Yes.
Not Rebellion, but there's a junior 501st, because you do have to be 18 to join the 501st.
Right.
But I think she's interested in joining, and that'll be really cool for me.
They have one for. You may want to tell her they have one for the Republic also.
No, yeah, let's not go there. No. I hate you even more now. You realize the whole Overwatch thing is we're teetering, and now you just sealed the deal.
Well, she did get Luke's lightsaber, so I mean, it only is fitting that if she is a traitor, that she just needs to continue
Well,
down.
actually, if you really get down to it, Luke's saber was Vader's, so. Meh.
Luke's saber was Vader's up until a point.
But it was Vader's. It was the dark side.
Yeah. It was his until he started going down that path.
He tried to cut Obi-Wan apart with it.
He tried to. But
anywho, I think that's it for us this week. It was a nice episode.
Yeah,
nice to be back.
It was. It's great to have the dynamic back. It has been. It is nice to have somebody sitting across from me. The banter and kibitzing was missed. What's that?
Not talking into nothing.
The solo episode was definitely weird. I had to really think about how I was going to how to approach it, because when I first started thinking about doing a podcast, it was going to be a solo, hosted solo. But I just couldn't think of a format, how to do it. And when the realization came that, oh, you're going to be gone for another week, and we have a podcast that we've wanted to get out, and we don't want to skip any any periods of time, I decided, okay, I'll do this, and now I have to really wing it.
But it worked out. We listened to it. It was
I totally ambushed you with it in the car.
Yeah.
Because I talk about ambushing people and with it, and I did the same thing to you.
Yeah, I don't mind. It's our podcast.
But yeah, like you said, I think that does it for this week.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Joe, and remember, if you can imagine it, you can print it.